If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, WNST.net. We are live in Phoenix. Super Bowl 49 coverage unfolding and evolving. It's all brought to you by CharlesNewsonoff.com. Valentine's Day on the way. Got a silver trophy on the wall. You may have a little gold in her heart. Remember, the love comes in all shapes and sizes. Get out to CharlesNewsonoff.com. Also brought to you by Continental Title and our friends Billy Yerman and the Continental Title Group, 30-year company featuring 55 well-established title professionals here in Maryland and all over the Eastern Shore and Delaware. You can visit ContinentalTG.com to learn more. We're on Radio Row. We've talked to a lot of folks in the military. We've had wounded warriors. We've had football players, actors, boxers, UFCers, comedians. We've had it all. We got a Navy SEAL guy here right now, and he's about as thick as the state of Delaware right now. He's huge.
I'm a cold weather frog.
Cold weather frog. Clint Bruce here, and it has been well played that you almost wore purple. That'd make you better looking, I'll tell you right now.
I did. I was blessed having played at the Naval Academy right there, and was just up there last night. Wonderful career there. Had an opportunity to play with the Baltimore Ravens, but also had an opportunity to be to try out for the SEAL teams. And after being in practice for the Ravens for a little while and playing the same position as Ray Lewis, I figured it might just be easier to make it through SEAL training than beat out Ray because he's pretty good.
Yeah,
although I'd say
he's all right.
He may not have caught on as a Navy SEAL though.
Well,
so you
that's
have
true.
That
That's right, exactly. I was like, we were both at Baltimore. But
I think Ray could have been a Navy SEAL, right? Ray probably could have done that.
He's got the mean. I mean, he's got the aggression and the passion for sure. Don't know how good a swimmer he is, but nobody knows how good a swimmer they are until they're almost drowning. They're like, I'm pretty good.
What did you learn from going from the football field to being a Navy SEAL? What was a skill set that you're like? I guess it's like a triathlon. Some guys run well, bike well, swim well. They know what their weakness is. Where were you? What was your deficiency?
So for me, obviously, cardio is not my gift. I'm not a gazelle. I mean, I know the listeners are probably going, that guy sounds like he can run for days, but it's not true. I don't like running.
You look like you swallowed a lot of aggression as well as a lot of pizza.
That's right. I do. Got an anger problem. But no, for me, that's what I loved about the trainings. It didn't really matter what you were great at. It was going to find a thing that you weren't good at, and it was going to smoke check you on that. Because it was going to find out whether you could be there or not. Like, at the end of the day, we don't care. I don't want to be around unbroken men because it's coming. And I don't want the first time you break to be in a place where you don't know what to do afterwards. And when I was in the NFL, one of the things I loved about the NFL is the attrition process there, because sometimes when you're in the NFL, it's the first time for some of these players that they're around people who are just as good as them or better, and they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to be surrounded.
Adversity.
They don't know how to be surrounded by people who are every bit the athlete that they are. For me, I'd always been just kind of the try-hard kid. So to be able to see that worked in the football field and that worked in the SEAL teams as well, that effort and intensity and desire will carry the day often.
Run me through the story about your decision-making process to maybe have a 5, 8, 10-year NFL career versus the decision that you made.
Well, for me, you graduate from the Naval Academy, you have a 5-year, they say commitment obligation. Right. I call it a promise.
Made famous by David Robinson, right?
Right. Well, Chad Hennings, fought in Desert Storm. He flew in A-10, and then he came out and won 2 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. Roger Staubach served 4.5 years before he ever saw the football field. Mm-hmm. So, serving and then coming back out, there's precedent for it. So, for me, I don't call it a commitment or an obligation. I call it a promise. I said I would and I would. And so, for me, and I'd been selected for the opportunity to try to become a SEAL. And that was so looming and so significant that I just kind of wanted to get right at it. I didn't want to waste time. I didn't want to take time. I wanted to really try this epic adventure. And not that it was, for me it was a bigger deal in football. I was like, hey, listen, I could blow up the A-gap as a football player. I could blow up a car as a SEAL. And so let's go do that because it's legal and fire's cool. And it's not a metaphor when you're blowing stuff up in the SEAL teams. It's great. And I just wanted to get after it. It just seemed kind of epic. And I didn't want to. Football's a violent sport, and that's one of the things I loved about it. But also knew that trying to be a SEAL was going to require a physical capability that where I was at. I wanted to get after it using that physical capability right away.
Did you know you could do it?
Yeah, I will. I think everybody who makes it knows that they can do it. Whether or not they can do it or not is to be revealed. So I walked in there with the absolute conviction that I could make it. I think you have to have certainty and that confidence, and then you either make it or you don't. But I think in order to make it, you got to walk in there pretty resolved to make it. I mean, can't be that much of a debate for you.
Did you ever have thoughts of revisiting football after the commitment you made?
You know, I did. In '99, I went and spent. I made it through SEAL training, checked in SEAL Team 5.
Okay.
In '99, I went and got to try out with the Saints for a little while.
Okay.
And it was interesting. You know, the Saints at the time. You know, I'd tasted what it was like to be in the SEAL teams, and I kind of went back to football. So I actually had a true comparison there, and just really the Navy, and I wanted to see me go forth and be a SEAL officer, and that's what I got to do, and enjoyed it, and had an amazing career serving among these amazing men and getting to know their wives and their families. I mean, they're every bit the great folks that you think they are, not just the SEAL teams, but the Marine Corps and the Army and anybody who serves in uniform. It is an amazing generation of people that we have that are serving this nation right now.
Now, the Wounded Warriors, we've had these folks by. I mean, you look like you still got 4 limbs. And we've had some people here, too. You know, one down. I'm missing a finger, so I got a little thing going on myself.
That's awesome.
You broke off a nice curveball back in a day.
That's pretty hardcore.
Came off the game. You know, I was 3 years old. What the hell do I know, right?
Don't cheapen it. Just take the compliment. We don't need to argue about this.
Yeah, people think I'm not tough. I mean, you know.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're tough, and you're arguing with me. Just say, yeah, I'm tough.
You want to arm wrestle? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can.
Clint Bruce
we can have
here.
an air guitar contest. I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, the Navy SEAL Team 5. How many Navy SEALs are there in the world?
There's about, at any given time, there's between 2,000 to 2,500 active duty SEALs.
So actually, there are more SEALs than there are NFL players, or kind of the same number, right? 53 times 32, 1,560, about the same amount.
Whatever that math is you just did, I'm gonna
I didn't know if there were 100.
Don't let the Naval
were
Academy degree fool you. I don't do math. I do
science.
Or just
warfare.
Violence.
Yeah, just straight out violence. That's fine. You should be like in a movie or something, man, you know?
Yeah,
You'd be a good heavy. We had Danny Trejo
I'm not
here
going to lie to you.
day.
I've been recruited for just a small part in finding Bigfoot as a stand-in.
Okay. As Bigfoot?
Yeah, I didn't. It was an NDA. I'm not even really supposed to be talking about it, but yeah, probably just like a
Sasquatch.
Yeah, a squatcher.
Right. So Navy, give me a little football thing there. I mean, the Army-Navy game, you do it every year.
Yeah,
it was in Baltimore this year.
I've only been to one Army-Navy game. I played in all 4 of them. You know, I graduated in '97, Aloha Bowl champion team, lost 4 Army-Navy games.
Who was your coach? I'm losing my
mind.
Weatherby.
Charlie Weatherby was my coach
after
then.
Elliot Uzelac, because I covered Elliot's team.
So we had George Chomp. So we had Uzelac, Chomp, Weatherby. And then Paul Johnson,
and
now Nehemiah. Kenny was there when I was there.
Coach Ken is what we call him, right?
Kenny's great. Just you can't keep up with Nehemiah. So Kenny was his first position coach was my junior year at the Naval Academy, and Ivan Jasper was there as a graduate assistant. So it's been really fun to watch these guys grow because they want to be there. They get the mission. They understand that football is absolutely vital and it's important. But getting men and women ready to win and serve their nation, you know, America needs a winner, and I love that the Naval Academy consistently delivers wins. And, you know, I love Jeff Monken being up at West Point now. He's a wonderful guy. Excited for him. But, yeah, you know, I learned so much.
It's like it all in the family story every year, right?
It's really neat. And, I think the Naval Academy and football in particular taught me about life and prepared me for everything that life's thrown at me. And, you know, I have this brotherhood that I can always fall back to when things go south and things get hard every once in a while. That's just life, you know.
What do you think when you see these Wounded Warriors running around, man?
I love it, man. I don't call them Wounded Warriors. I call them recalibrated carnivores. Actually,
I like that.
Yeah, so actually my deal is like, you're not a wounded warrior, and they look at me, they get mad. I'm like, I'm not saying you weren't wounded. You don't have legs. I said, but here's the deal. You can either be a recalibrated carnivore or a re-engineered elite. That's all you can be. And they look at me at the Marines. I'm like, you can either be a recalibrated carnivore. They're like, that one. I'm like, I haven't even told you the second one yet. Like, doesn't matter. You said carnivore. I'm a Marine. I'm like, well, I went through the trouble of thinking of a second one, so you're going to listen to it. But they all choose recalibrated carnivores, re-engineered elites, and it's amazing to watch them go out and compete. When you get hurt like that, sometimes what happens is you think you have to say goodbye to these parts of you that you love the most, the competitor, the athlete, and what's been really fun to see these guys rediscover the competitor and recalibrate the competitor.
We've seen it all week.
It's
amazing.
Insane. It's absolutely amazing. Some of these guys they're making the advancement in prosthetics, what prosthetics are allowing these guys to do, and how brave they are, and just hanging it out there, and you know, being willing to get hurt again to rediscover their sport, just suffer an injury, it's fun. It's fun watching them come alive again.
Clint Bruce is here, turned down a contract to play for our Baltimore Ravens, despite the fact that I'm telling you, would have been way better looking in purple, man. I mean, purple's a color royalty.
Yeah, and it's slimming. It's a slimming color as well. I like
Kelly
that.
Craig thought so.
Yeah, it helps. But again, I think Ray had our position locked up pretty well.
And I think you made the right choice. Thank you.
No, I did. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I love the NFL. I love football. I love the game. I love knowing a lot of these players now with the NFL player engagement program, what they're doing. Lalo Tactical, what they're doing to help us go tonight, getting these players ready. What Lalo Tactical's done is they've looked at being an operator similar to how you looked at being an athlete. Jay Taylor's is biomechanics and going, hey, listen, the combat environment, not trivializing it, it's an athletic environment. And so one of the things I discovered in the SEAL team is because the guys I was around and who I was being led by is we're just elite athletes. We're tactical athletes is all we are. So it's fun to see this marriage of the athletic world and the operational world, and you'll see a lot of that tonight. And a lot of Tactical's gotten behind that, Sabre, some of these other people, and it's because who doesn't want to be a part of this story,
See American Sniper yet?
Yeah, I have.
I'm not a movie guy, and I know both sides of the thing, but I guess at the level that you did things, with the Navy, and I mean, for, all the politics aside, Guantanamo and the crazy vice president we had, and torture and water, all that stuff that goes on. I think people see a movie and they get either squeamish by it, or they think it's sort of like real life, eat 'em alive, UFC kind of bloodthirstiness.
No.
I think there have been both sides on the American Sniper.
I think American Sniper it's a beautiful movie. And candidly, there's less action in that than most action movies, because what this movie does is it talks a lot about the whole story. It talks about Taya's life. It talks about, this is one of the only movies that really talks about my wife's story. And obviously, I didn't do nearly as much as Chris did and some of these other guys. I describe my operational career. I've done more than some and less than most. But my wife, regardless of whether or not I was doing stuff or not, she was still home by herself trying to figure out what's going to happen next. And
it's a psychology story,
I love
right?
that the movie kind of shares that. It shares the whole family serves. The whole family serves. Wayne and Debbie, Chris's mom, Jeff, Chris's brother, who is a manly man. I mean, that dude is a pipe hitter and a Marine, and I love him. And he is every bit the tough guy that his brother was. And this movie starts to tell that story, and I'm proud of it for that.
Clint Bruce, on Twitter, anywhere? Can we find you anywhere?
I'm not secure enough to tweet yet. They've been telling me I need to start tweeting, but I'm like, do I look like a guy who tweets? And like, you call it something else, I'll chirp. I'm not going to tweet. I don't know if I can tweet.
Sing?
I like that.
I can. It's kind of a rap sing sort of thing, and it's, my buddy helps run Pinterest, and I called him the other day. I was like, hey, man, we got to start something called Minterest. And he's like, why? I'm like, because I'm too insecure to have my own Pinterest account. So I'm ghosting my wife's account. And all her friends are like, Amy, why are you in a body armor and monster trucks all of a sudden? So actually, I'm starting Minterest.com for dudes that kind of
monster trucks, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, who doesn't want a monster truck? I've already got the Bigfoot thing going on. So just bring it all under one roof,
Well, the second act, I'm interested to see what it's going to be for you. Clint Bruce here for the Navy SEAL Team 5 and working with the Wounded Warriors and almost a Raven, but certainly a Navy, a MIDI.
Almost.
Always a MIDI, right?
Yes, always a MIDI. Always a midshipman.
There you go. Clint Bruce. We'll step out. We'll take a break. We're live at Radio Row, Super Bowl 49. All of our coverage brought to you by Continental Title and our friends at Charles Newsonoff. Luke Riding Shotgun. You can email us, Luke at WNST.net. I'm Nasty at WNST.net. Twitter, Facebook, and, of course, if you miss anything at all, and there's been so much we've done here so far, we're only in the middle of the week at WNST. You can find it all in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault. We are live in Phoenix. We are WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.